Good evening. Don't you just love pomp and circumstance? Doesn't it just make you feel awesome? Remind you of your high school graduation. So thank you all for being here this evening. It is my pleasure to facilitate tonight's graduation. I'm Mary Finnegan. I'm with the Benedictine Sisters of Virginia, right here in Bristow, and I am honored to serve this year as the chair of Leadership Prince William. Welcome all of our wonderful classmates and congratulate you on a great year and your wonderful success, their friends and family who are with us. We have a number of board members, past chairs in the room. If you could stand up and be recognized, if you're a past chair or current board member. Bennett, I see you back there, you wrote. Thank you for being here this evening. I'd like to just introduce and acknowledge Mark Schaber, who is our past chair. Mark was chair 2 years before when I was chair-elect. And Mark also, when we had a change in our staff this year, stepped in as our interim executive director. We thank Mark for doing an outstanding job and truly being what LPW is all about. And I should say, for those of you who don't know, Mark actually stayed with the class and volunteered his time to stay with the class because it meant so much to him. And then a really awesome search committee came up with, did an extensive search around our area to come up with who the next great leader would be. We had two wonderful executive directors in the past, and who was going to be our next great leader. And I personally think they did a fantastic job in hiring Miss Andrea Short. Every year, LPW really takes a lot of time to come up with who they think would be the best speaker for a particular class. We looked at someone in the community that has set the example, that's a leader that we all care about, that cares about this community, that we all like to emulate. This year's speaker is a person whose resume is long and impressive, and she never ceases to amaze me, not only in her range of talents and experience, but as a mom, a grandmother of 5, and a caregiver for her mom, and in assisting with her dad and caring for her mom who's been ill for a while. I've known this individual since 6th grade, so I was going to tell you how many years that was, but then that would be dating us. So, but it's really an honor to have one of my besties up here, one of my best friends up here speaking to you this evening. Lovey Hammel is approaching 4 decades as president and co-founder of Employment Enterprises, a strategic workforce solutions company and the parent company of Temporary Solutions. I should tell you that Temporary Solutions Employment Enterprises also led the search for us, for our new executive director. Her entrepreneurial spirit drove her to start the company with her mother in 1980, working during the day and attending George Mason University in the evenings. Employment Enterprises is a 100% women-owned company. It is WENC certified and achieves substantial growth through continued innovation around workforce solutions. They conduct business in all 50 states, and they help companies strengthen their workforce, and I am also a client, so I have certainly benefited from that as well. Temporary Solutions was established in 1980, as I said, as a regional staffing company and continues to serve not only this area, but all 50 states. They also have a spin-off company, Checks and Balances, that assists clients with payroll solutions. That was established in 1984. They have diversified, expanding on national level, leading them to have reserves, a portfolio of companies that have reserves revenues between 105 and million in 2009. Employment Enterprise has been recognized by Inc. 500 magazine for the 3 consecutive years as one of the largest growing companies and fastest growing companies in America. And they've been recognized by the Washington Business Journal as the top 25 independent workforce solutions in the Washington, D.C. area. Lovey has received many awards over the years, and most recently she received in 2017, the Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce honored her with their highest honor, the Lifetime Achievement Award. She's been an honoree of Fairfax County's Commission on Women, Trailblazing Women in Labor and Business. She's been a recipient of the Mason Medal in 2012, which is George Mason's University highest honor. She also led the search committee that did a wonderful job in hiring the president of George Mason, Dr. Omar Pereira. She chaired both the Northern Virginia Chamber and the Prince William County Chamber of Commerce. I don't think we have too many past chairs that can say they've chaired both chambers. And she was appointed by Governor Tim Kaine to the Board of Visitors for George Mason. She's the first alumni of Mason to lead their capital campaign, and she's a big supporter of autism programs, including the Mason Autism Support Initiative. She and her husband Tom have been married for 40 years. They have one daughter, Kristen, who herself is an entrepreneur and owns Glow Studios in Ashburn. She's the proud grandmother of 5 very busy grandchildren, and she got her start right here in Manassas, Virginia. Go Stonewall Jackson class of 77, woohoo! So please join me in welcoming my dear friend and an exceptional leader, Lovey Hammel.
Thank you for that introduction. I think we should start by saying, let's rock the red tonight.
Yeah.
I should have worn red. But I want to congratulate everybody as a graduate today. It's exciting, and I love the pomp and circumstance as you walk in here. And I thought about what I wanted to say, because it's really a lifetime of leadership. You are on a continuing leadership learning journey at this particular point in time. And I've been thinking about my lifetime because I'm standing here on the tail end of my career. And you'll one day stand here and talk about your career and the leadership lessons that you've learned. I can only really tell you about my story because I actually was 20 years old, married, had a new baby, no college degree, and I wasn't able to go back to my commercial real estate career when I had my baby, because there were no part-time flexible jobs at that time, and everything was done at night after 5 and 6 o'clock. And if you weren't the person getting the signature on those contracts, you didn't eat in commercial real estate. So I was just crazy enough to start a business with my mother in 1980. And it's been a learning trip since then. I was a farm girl. I actually grew up about 2 miles from here on this used to be farmland, Ron. Those of you that have lived here all your life. 2 miles from here there was a farm. We were tenants on that farm. And went to Stonewall Jackson, came out and started this business to grow and to lead 3 businesses. And it wasn't really my plan, but I just learned as I went along. And I'm proud of what we've done. We've been able to grow Temporary Solutions into employment enterprises. We do work across the United States. We have about 5,000 employees that we could employ annually. I was able to achieve running a $100 million business. I did sell 70% of that business back in 2010. I decided that my life needed a little bit of downsizing, and that's how I did that. And then it took me for a curve, and soon after that, I survived a very aggressive breast cancer in 2013. So my first point to everybody here, and maybe one of the most important ones you'll have in your career, is that your life and career is not going to turn out the way you planned it. You're going to prep and do courses that you're doing right now, which is excellent, and I'm proud of every one of you. But you really need to be thinking, I have to be preparing myself for the unexpected, because it's going to be there. There are going to be curves along the way. So we're going to practice our leadership skills. We're going to practice everything we learn so we're prepared when we have to take that different trip down the path. We're prepared for it. And like you, I was very ambitious. And how do I know that you're ambitious? It's because you're sitting here in this leadership class. You're one of 30% of people that are willing to invest in yourself and take the time to improve your skill level. When we do surveys, 80% of people will say, I really want training. I really want training. So when we give them the opportunity, only 25 to 30% of people will take advantage of it. So kudos for you, because you are already on that short list of high achievers. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got prepped, because I didn't have a college degree when we started the business. I was just trying to find my career. But I have a great story that those of you who've lived in Prince William County know that IBM was one of the big employers back in 1980. And my mother and I started a temporary business. We were going to put people out on jobs, and I was going to work 3 days a week, and she was going to work 3 days a week. Wednesday was going to be our crossover day. And 6 months in, IBM called and said, we're looking for women-owned businesses to do some work with. And we've heard that y'all are, getting started, and we'd like you to come over and do a presentation. So I was not even nervous for this presentation. It's the one presentation I've done in my whole life that I didn't even worry about. Didn't get nervous. I did a lot of prep work. But I thought to myself, this is going to be a great practice session. Because there's no way that IBM is going to use a company that's been around for 6 months, a woman with no college degree, they're going to give us business. So I think because I wasn't nervous, I probably gave one of the best presentations I ever gave in my life. And they called 2 weeks later and said, we would like to start working with you. We have a new project. We think you can do it. Will you come over and negotiate a contract with me? I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. That's up my wheelhouse. I was in commercial real estate. I know about contracts. I walked into that room. From the first sentence on, I didn't know a thing I was signing. I thought to myself, I'm a little over my head in here. But I just smiled, and I was as prepped as I could be, and I probably signed away my house and my child and everything else. I left that meeting. I was very happy to get the work. I left that meeting thinking, I really hope they were fair on that contract. But I went to George Mason University and signed up for their night course. And I did that, and then within that same week, because I wanted to take business law. I thought, I need some business law. I had no idea what these contracts are all about. So I get signed up. I go to sign up for classes, and the truth of the matter is I can't take business law for like 2 semesters because you have to take all the prerequisites before that. But I said, all right, it's worth it. I need a degree. I'm going to do this. So 8 years, I was at George Mason University at night. There were no online courses back then. My husband calls this business person by day, student by night, and mother and wife on the weekends. Now the good news is I'm still married to that same man, and my daughter still talks to me. And they have been great, great supporters for this whole time. But I put hands in the air for Mason because they accepted us into the night program. I used what I learned during the daytime. They invited us as students back to participate. I was invited back to be a trustee. Later on, Governor Kane put me on the board of visitors. It became my community. It became the place that I learned leadership. I learned to work with different people from different walks of life. They made me think bigger and broader, and they really kicked me up into saying, I can do this. I can grow a business. I just have to think big. So my second point to everyone today is think about your opportunities. In my world, at the family table, my family would say a lot, when a door opens, walk through it. And they'd say, each door that opens is a blessing, don't waste it. And I've looked back through my career and think to myself, that's exactly true. Because there are not as many doors that are going to open for you as you think they are. And when they do open, they're not open forever. You have to walk through it, or you have to get your foot in it, or your elbow, or whatever you need to get into it to keep it open. And you have to work hard for that. And I always say to people, when they're telling me, I don't get any opportunities, or I didn't like that opportunity, or that's not the opportunity I wanted, I think to myself, maybe they should just look closer at those opportunities. Because sometimes you have to look for the positive in those opportunities. Because some opportunities can be really covered with mud. They're not shiny diamonds that people give to you and say, hey, this is an opportunity, you want it? Usually it's coming a little bit lopsided and a little muddy. And I always say, opportunities are what you make them, what you make of them. Matter of fact, I went to Wolf Trap this last weekend, and Jake Owen was playing, and his tour is called Life's What You Make It. And I was thinking, that's exactly right. Life is what you make it. Because I work with Fortune 1000 companies, and people ask me all the time, how'd you get that opportunity? How'd you get the opportunity to work with these companies? And I say, well, the first presentation I did was for an insurance company, and I was going in there, and I wanted the high dollar work. I wanted to work with the adjusters, and the claims, and the analysts. And you know what they gave me? They put me in charge of the mops and the cleaning supplies and the cleaners. And to say I was disappointed is kind of an understatement. They put me with the facilities. So I thought it was hard work. It was hard to find people for those jobs. It was hard to keep people in the jobs. It was hard to get them insured. You had to keep the injuries down. It was a tough position to get. It's a great contract, tough contract to implement. So I was disappointed. Yet one day I realized that I actually knew every manager in the whole facility, corporate facility. I had them right there in my database. I hadn't been pigeonholed in one little agency or one little part of the operation. I knew everybody. So I took out my Rolodex and just started taking people to coffee and asking them how we were doing and how the facilities were going. And all of a sudden I had a group of people that were my champions. It was my way of doing a power network. Every leader needs a power network. And I became the go-to person for what was all the, I call them the oddball jobs. The things that they didn't know where to put. Like the time they bought a plane, but they couldn't figure out how they were going to hire the pilot and the stewards and stewardess because they worked in different states. And so they came to me and said, do you think you can make that work? We found a way to make that work because we were doing business in other states, and wherever they were landing for the day, that's where they got paid and they got taxed. So it was a great opportunity. Also, at the time that Hurricane Katrina came through, and they called and said, we have over 125 adjusters that need to get down into New Orleans, but yet we can't send them down there. There's nowhere for them to stay, and they can't use their company credit cards because there's no place down there for them to use them. I need a team of people and vendors that can help us get these 125 people into New Orleans. So myself and another company got together and we bought RVs on our clients tab. I don't own RVs. But we got the idea to get RVs and drove them down there so they could actually live in RVs. And then we would do a Monday cash drop. We would go to a bank in another part of the state, and we would bring cash down for them to use for the week so they could buy the food and the gas that they needed to get around. So that really kind of ugly, muddy, it wasn't ugly, but muddy opportunity of taking over facilities for a company ended up being one of my largest clients for many, many years. It was a tough assignment, but it helped me show to that particular customer that I was a get-it-done leader. And leaders need to stand out. And if you're a leader, you're going to want to stand out. The other thing I think that we need to do is we need to work on our leadership skills. And this one you're doing because you're taking a class. But the other thing you can do, and I think a great way to work on your leadership style, is to work in volunteer positions. I say that, you'll join, you'll serve on a board, I hope you'll take an officer position or two. And it's a great way to work on leadership because the people you work with in a volunteer position are unpaid and they don't have to stay with you for any time frame, right? They stay because they like you as the leader, they like you as the committee chair, they want to work with you. So it's a great way to really be able to work on leadership style, running better meetings, learning to public speak, learning to find a shared mission from people that are from really diverse walks of life. I expect each of you to be able to do that because it will help you evolve your leadership and you will take it back into your careers and you will be a better leader because you've done that. And you can start right here with Leadership Prince William. I'm sure Mary will find a great place for you to be a volunteer. Absolutely. But it is a way to do that and always to go to different places and really work. You're giving back to the community, which a leader should do, but you're also working on your own leadership style. Another point I was thinking about is values. You know, you should build and think about your values and should really put those principles into your leadership style. It really should show to people that are on your team what your values are. You should be able to communicate it to them. You know, over time, I've tried to do my values about trust and respect. I tell my team, there's no lying or covering up the truth, and you don't throw others under the bus. You really have to own your own mistakes. And I've had to have hard discussions in my office with people, and I expect my team to be able to come in and have hard discussions with me. There have been many tears that have fallen in my office, but the thing we always can say is that as a leader, you can't be afraid to respectfully speak the truth and also to respectfully hear the truth. It goes both ways, and that should really show. And then I'm going to tell you my pet peeve about leadership, or teaching leadership. And that is, leaders have to make decisions. And this is an interesting point for me, because I do go around and work with the senior leaders and the young leaders that are in my organization, and I always ask them, what's the decision? What decision have you made? And they'll say, oh, no, I'm not ready yet. I need some more information. I need another expert. I need more before I make this decision. And, we live in a time of information overload. All of us have way too much information. And I say to them two things. How much more new information can you really get before you make this decision? And the second thing I say is, do you think you got the 80 or 90% of the important facts? And if they say yes to both of those, I say it's time to make a decision. Because you can always make a new decision if you get new relevant information. But you need to make decisions. You release your team to move on and be productive and grow if you as the leader are willing to make the decisions. And so sometimes that feels risky, but that's what a leader does. And I always say, no decision is really making a decision. You're saying, I want somebody else to be leader. So it's just something I ask us to think about as we really step into our leadership positions and we do bigger and better things with their leadership. And then I say, tick, 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 tick. Your life's going to move fast. We'll be up here talking to people on the tail end of your career. But lastly and most importantly, you're going to hit a wall and you're going to hit the unexpected. And I wish for all of you that it'll be a minor wall and one that you'll be able to crawl over. It might be a divorce, you might be fired, bankruptcies, health issues, great losses. But you're going to need these leadership skills that you're learning. You'll have to reach deep and bring them out when that time happens. And I always tell people, I hit my wall going full tilt 100 miles an hour when I least expected it. I was feeling great, and frankly, my career is the top of its game. I've done some of those things Mary talked about. I've sold a big portion of my business. I just chaired the search committee for Dr. Cabrera, George Mason University. I got the award from Mason Distinguished Service. I just taken the chair position for the Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce, and I felt in good health. I thought I'd watched my exercise, I'd watched my weight, I'd done all the things the books had said you should be doing to be healthy. And I'd actually just gone for a checkup and had a mammogram. And just before leaving for a long vacation, I was doing my self-check and had this lump that just showed itself. So I called my doctor and he said, you just had a checkup in the last couple months. It's okay to leave. Go for your long vacation. I'm going to make your appointment here at the end of the summer. So I came back happy, tan, full of energy, ready to get to my new project. And I went to that doctor's appointment, and within 1 hour, I knew my life had changed. And life is good until it's not. You read about that, but you don't really know it until it's actually happened to you. 3 doctors, 5 tests, and lots of frowns later, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer that had grown in 3 months to a walnut size. And later, when they tested it, it was found out to be aggressive, fast-growing breast cancer called triple negative. So in the first 24 hours, I like to explain to people, I was like drinking from a fire hose. I had to make decisions very quickly that would be life-altering and had life-saving consequences. Within 2 weeks, I was in an infusion room. I was taking heavy chemo for the next 6 months, every other week. Then I had to have a full surgery, a double mastectomy. And it took 3 or 4 months to get back on my feet. And the good news for me is that I had a good outcome. But I knew going into it, only a third of patients that have triple negative have a 5-year complete recovery. And my story is one of the good stories because I've made 5.5 years. But I look back and I think to myself, I had to be prepared for that change in the road. When you hit the wall, you really have to go after every leadership skill and every skill that you've learned to be able to move forward. I was able to go with my power network to help get the expertise I needed immediately to move forward. I was in an active, high-profile position. What I really wanted to do was go home and just get under the covers and just not talk to anybody and try to get well. But I realized I couldn't do that. I had made commitments and I had customers, and I needed to do the best I could with what I had. And I had to courage up, as I like to say. I had to lose my hair in public. I didn't wear a wig. I opted instead to go for a hat collection. I have a very nice hat collection if anyone wants to borrow. I lend them out to people all the time now. And I really took my lesson and said I would go around and tell people and tell other women that 80% of these breast cancers are found by self-detection and doing self-examinations, not by mammograms, like we've been taught. And that I would use that as I would go forward. But I tell people I also had to use my leadership skills to get my own support teams. My friend gave me advice as I went in there. They said, listen, everyone's going to want to help you. Give them a job and let them do it. And it's not your first thought when you need something. You say, oh, no, I got it. I'll take care of it. You should use your leadership skills and say, yes, people want to help you. Let them help you. So I built a family support team, a best friend support team with Mary Finnegan and Debbie Jones, a medical support team, my volunteer chamber support team, my business team, and they all gave me reason to get up out of bed every morning and give my best. And that's really what we need to do. And the last thing I'll say is that my most important advice came from my sister-in-law. She had survived breast cancer 30 years earlier when the majority of women didn't survive back then, and it was very difficult. And she knew I was kind of an organic, natural type of person, wouldn't want to take a lot of medicines, and that I would see this whole aggressive chemo, lots of medical attention as really soul draining. And she said, you got to visualize yourself as empowered and your chemo treatments as life-giving and life-healing, not poison or negative, no matter what the side effects are. You make it a life-building experience. So that wall I climbed showed me that you have to empower yourself and others, and it really starts with that positive attitude. So as you leave today as graduates of Leadership Prince William, to you, prepare to always bring your best self. Bring the most positive attitude that you have to all the situations. And that, my friends, will be the most important step and ingredient to being a great leader. And I thank you for listening to me today.
Lovey, don't leave. To thank Lovey very much. She's absolutely amazing. Lovey, thank you.
Rock the red.
Rock the red. All you do for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if Sarah's coming back in, but for those who don't know me, my name is Andrea Short. I'm the Executive Director for Leadership Prince William. And I'm going to try and keep my remarks pretty brief. As many of you know from firsthand experience, Leadership Prince William is a pretty unique part of this community. We kind of speak our own language. We talk about social reds and conceptual yellows, structural greens and analytical blues, and the average person in the Manassas Woodbridge area doesn't really know what we're talking about, but once you are part of it, you're kind of sharing in these institutional secrets And we're constantly striving to exhibit our 3 values, and they are passion, we're the crazy people out in the community with ideas and kind of this gung-ho attitude, and we're bringing about serious changes for the greater Prince William and Manassas area. We are also one of our values is inclusiveness. We have a spectrum of ages, abilities, ethnicities, industries, political views, and much more. And still, I think it's amazing how we find ways to come together. I think our closing retreat today was a great, I guess just a tiny little snapshot of that, how we're all so different. I was struck today about the diversity in this class, just in the number of people who were not born in this country. And I haven't looked at the makeup of the other classes through that lens, but I was like, wow, we were really blessed this year to have so many different perspectives in our midst. And third, we have action. And case in point, Comcast Cares Day 2018, you guys rallied 222 volunteers. You raised close to $9,000 for supplies, and you touched an entire community. And you literally took an entire neighborhood of people who weren't sure of their place in this community, and you said with your actions, you have unlimited potential, and to prove that we believe you have unlimited potential, we're going to put a big sign in your neighborhood that literally says love, because you deserve all the love and respect and dignity due to our fellow citizens. I think you guys should be really proud of yourselves. I was not privileged to go through your opening retreat or your first few class sessions with you, but I am really thankful for the way that you guys have welcomed me into your class over the last few months. The first month I came was January, it was the Arts Day, and when I left that day, actually kind of in the middle of the afternoon, I just went outside for a little while and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. They know each other so well already. I'm coming in the middle of this, and I am not naturally an outgoing person. I have to force myself to make new friends and dive into new relationships. So every bit of outgoing persona that I have is exhibited at work. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna take so much. That is why I am so in love with the Comcast Cares project that you guys did this year, because it gave me the opportunity to get to know some of you so much better. It gave me the opportunity to work with you one-on-one, in small groups, and then in a larger group. And the way that I've gotten to know you, I can't imagine a better first class for me to have gone through this journey with. So I want to thank you for including me in it. Now, for all of our guests here, the class of 2018 adopted the motto of breaking protocol. And for everyone else in the room, if you are an alumni, you know that generally you pick your class motto within the first couple of sessions, and that's it. And some of you hate your class motto, some of you think it's really cool, whatever. Well, this class did things a little bit differently. So they picked a class motto, and then they put a tagline on it, and then a few months later they wanted to come back and revisit it, and we had to finally make the final decision was made in the March session. The definition of protocol, I looked it up because Mark, being our interim executive director, he was with them from the beginning. He helped them choose their class motto, and he is very much like Papa Bear with this class, and like, okay, but you don't understand, they're not just rule breakers, okay? So, I wanted wanted to define protocol for us. It has multiple definitions, but the two that stood out: a code prescribing strict adherence to correct etiquette and precedence, as in diplomatic exchange and in the military services. Or a detailed plan of a scientific or medical experiment, treatment, or procedure. There's a way that Leadership Prince William has done things in the past, and you guys are not rebels per se, but in some ways you've turned that on its head. And I think that we've had an outstanding experience together, and I, for one, have gotten a lot out of our class sessions, and I hope that you have too. Now, my predecessors have always said that every class has a unique personality, and that is certainly true of you. My class was loud and boisterous. 2015, motivating greatness.
You got it, girl.
But it has been such a pleasure working with you guys the last 5 to 6 months. You've been amazing. I want you to give yourselves a I admire you, and that is enough for me. So now, it is my privilege to introduce your chosen commencement speakers from your class. True to your class motto, you broke the protocol even in this, because there was a tie, and so we just rolled with it. So you have a tag team comprised of Brianna Sewell and Olan Simmons. And
We love you guys.
Love you too. Sort of. Very much, actually. Greetings, LPW Class 2018. Honored guests, alumni, and family members. It's a privilege to be here with you today, and it's an honor to be a member of our class. The great investor and business leader Warren Buffett has 3 recommendations for leadership in life. He says, number 1, form good habits while you're young. Number 2, don't go into debt. And number 3, surround yourself with really good people. Well, I have a really, really bad chocolate chip cookie habit, so that's a problem for me. I don't work out as much as I should. I'm 45 years old, so I'm not really that young anymore. I have student loans from college and law school, so I'm pretty much in debt. The one piece of advice Mr. Buffett gave that I can actually follow at this point in my life is to surround myself with really good people. And in keeping with Mr. Buffett's recommendation, I can honestly say I surround myself with really good people in this room, my LPW family. I want to personally thank the LPW alumni who encouraged me to take this wonderful journey. Chris Spittler and Brett Callahan, sitting over there. My colleagues at Vanderbilt Frostic and Machinian for your insight and realizing that I would not only really enjoy this experience, but greatly benefit from it. Thank you also to Stephanie Rogers, for encouraging me to participate in LPW, and thank you for the great care package on the first day of classes. Fantastic. To the interim director, executive director, Mark Schauber, with whom we began our journey, many, many thanks to you. You stepped in at the right time, with the right tone, and took us in the right direction. I speak for our class when I say we're forever grateful to you and for your leadership. To the amazing Andrea Short, the new executive director of LPW, we thank you and appreciate you. Within your leadership styles, an admirable combination of charm, vision, strength, and a winning sense of humor. You are the cornerstone of LPW, and I think I speak for everyone in this room when I say you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm glad to know this organization is in your capable and caring hands. Last and certainly not least, I'd like to thank my wife Stacy, who had to step out. My son Brock is graduating from kindergarten today, so hope you, Brock, I understand. Even though she didn't really understand why I was leaving so early in the morning, or where I was going, or why I was going, she was very supportive and understanding, and I love and appreciate her for that. To the wonderful alumni of LPW who joined us for this beautiful occasion, from the class of 2001 to the class of 2017, all of you are the foundation of LPW. We thank you for all that you've done to make this organization great and for contributing to our unforgettable and amazing LPW experience. Our class began as a group of strangers, discovering our preferred leadership styles, allowing ourselves to be open and vulnerable during our leadership exercises. We created songs together. We danced together with the cloggers. Yeah. And the young man who called himself a Romanian redneck. Great guy. We listened to each other. We attended continuing conversations where we got to know each other. We made personal connections with each other. And we shared the memories of the day. Though we began as a group of strangers, we're now tied together as a family of citizen leaders. We're developing lifelong friendships as we work toward the common goal of making Prince William County the best that it can be. In our class, our relationships are based on encouragement, companionship, and mutual respect. Our class is now acutely aware of our leadership strengths, the areas that we can improve, and the ways in which we can use our leadership to obtain the most impactful impact. Also, LPW showed us what our community has to offer in terms of history, government, art, culture, tourism, education, public safety, health and human services. And as leaders, we have a duty to make these inspiring aspects of our community stronger and more accessible. As a class, we've been asked to carefully consider our mission and to consider what we will accomplish as a group of leaders. As we consider our mission and the future of Prince William County, let's think about the leaders who've come before us, the visionary leaders in our community in the past who sat in their respective meeting rooms discussing different issues, brainstorming, sharing, debating, and wondering if their ideas would ever actually materialize. All of them believing that with hard work and dedication, they would make a positive contribution to Prince William County. Places like the Prince William County Chamber of Commerce, the Hilton Center, the Center for the Arts, George Mason University, NOVA, ACTS, and LPW, all of these wonderful institutions began as really good ideas. As a result of the persistence of the leaders in this community, those places have developed into institutions that provide a benefit to so many people in terms of leadership training, education, arts and culture, women's empowerment, care for the homeless, business development, and community service. As a class, our persistence will lead to great things as well. In LPW, we learned the importance of creating a safe space so that we could talk to each other without judgment, listen to each other without distraction, and work with each other to achieve the preferred outcome. We learned that our collaboration is a powerful force for innovation, entrepreneurship, accomplishment, civil engagement, and the assistance of people for people who are struggling. Dwight Eisenhower famously said, "You don't lead people by hitting them over the head. That's assault." Our class recognizes the value of servant leadership. As servant leaders, we have a duty to figure out the best way to serve our community, our customers, our constituents, our businesses, our schools, and our families. Gandhi famously said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." The great author John Maxwell famously said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." Another famous quote says, "Ultimately, leaders are not judged by how well they lead, but by how well they serve." Our communication and collaboration with each other is the concrete foundation for real servant leadership. But communication and collaboration alone are not enough. It's our action and our passion that ultimately enables us to make a positive contribution to our community. As a community of leaders, we have a duty to move beyond the discussions into real action in order to make a real difference. As we deal with the hardships of leadership, we know that doing hard things is sometimes necessary. We won't shy away from the difficulties that we face, because we know in the process of facing difficulties and navigating those difficulties, we become stronger leaders. There's a group of scientists from the University of Arizona who decided to grow trees in a laboratory that had no wind. The scientists soon discovered that because of the lack of wind in the laboratory, the trees never completely matured. As it turns out, the wind plays a major role in the life of a growing tree. It's the very presence of the wind that helps the tree grow properly and enables it to support its own weight. When a tree grows in the wild, it's the stress brought on by the wind pushing against the tree that actually makes the tree stronger and allows it to fully mature. Without exposure to the wind, the tree bends and breaks. As leaders, we should remember that it's the difficulties, it's the hardships, the winds, and the bad weather of life that makes strong leaders. Like the tree blown by the wind, we will stand strong together through the adversity, through the trying times that leadership presents. We will call on each other for help. We'll be available to each other in times of crisis and need. We'll benefit from each other's creativity. We'll celebrate our accomplishments and victories. We'll work together to make Prince William County all that it should be, all that we expect it to be, and all that it can be as a community, as a home, as a place of opportunity, as a place where we care for our neighbors, a place that our schools and businesses thrive. As Andrew mentioned, our class motto is breaking protocol. And it's no secret to anyone in this class that initially some of us had some reservations about that name itself. Then I realized maybe breaking protocol is who we are after all. Breaking protocol means for us that as leaders, we're determined to break the protocol the way things have always been done, with the purpose of finding the best way to get things done. Keep in mind that we're not interested in breaking rules. We're interested in breaking through those things that stand in the way of growth, our cohesion, and the development of the community. As a class, we're interested in breaking protocol in order to remove biases, to remove cumbersome, archaic, ineffective rules and procedures, negative attitudes, disrespect, discrimination, ageism, gender inequality, and anything else that gets in the way of our group effort and collective success. On Comcast Cares Day, our group effort and collective success was on display during the Georgetown South Beautification Project. Katie, Lexi, Eric, and so many others worked together to organize such an amazing community event. An event that actually included the residents of Georgetown South and welcomed them to play a part in the community project. All that we accomplished together that day, we accomplished by working together to make it an exceptional project. I'd like to end my remarks with a quote from Mary Finnegan, a beloved LPW graduate. Mary Finnegan said it best when she told us, once you're done with leadership, Prince William, you're not really done. You become a part of this amazing group. We have all been transformed, personally and professionally, by LPW. We're inspired to recognize our duty as leaders in the community, reach higher, dream bigger, and achieve more than before. As graduates of LPW, our class is now an intricate part of this amazing group of leaders. And Mary's absolutely right. We are not done. In fact, we're just getting started. This is just the beginning. I can't wait to see what we accomplish together. Congratulations to you all, and thank you.
It's okay. You guys can hear me. Okay, thank you. Good evening. Greetings to the illustrious Leadership Prince William class of 2018. To all alumni, family, and friends in attendance, thank you for joining us to celebrate this milestone in our careers and stepping stone in our development as leaders. While our dedication to our respective jobs
and community organizations brought us together, our countless memories and everlasting bonds will forever unite us. Over the past 10 months, Leadership Prince William provided innumerable opportunities for development, inspiration, and connection. We learned about Greater Prince William, all that it has to celebrate, and areas to which we can lend a helping hand. But most importantly, this program allowed us to discover and redefine leadership in our own terms, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Every story has universal appeal when told well. I hope all in attendance, particularly my fellow classmates, find a personal connection to my remarks. I stand before you today, grateful for this opportunity to discuss how each of you have inspired me and my journey in service to this place we call home in one way or another. As I reflected on our time together, I was left with 3 leadership rules to live by. There is power in saying, I don't know. 2, ask for and accept help. And 3, empower others. 1, author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie said it best. Ignorance acknowledged is opportunity. Ignorance denied is a closed door. And it takes courage to admit to the truth what you do not know. As I revealed this morning to my classmates, I was a Leadership Prince William skeptic. Alumni would discuss the transformative experience that they had at the top of the mountain, and I was simply wondering what they were drinking. Because I was not drinking that. Before our trip, and quite frankly, as we were driving to the Shenandoah National Park, thanks Amanda, I had reservations. I viewed Leadership Prince William as the community's way of validating the seat that I and many of my classmates occupied at the table. And have you seen my classmates? These are phenomenal individuals. They don't need to be validated. But I can admit that I was wrong. I was critical of a program that I had yet to experience. And Jan, I don't know where she is, but Jan, I don't know how you did it, but you have challenged us in ways that we never thought possible. In 48 hours, you broke down barriers and challenged us to lean into this process, and we drank the Kool-Aid. Yes! Whether your moment of reckoning, my classmates, occurred at the top of the mountain or at another session, we have learned when to step up and take the lead, and we've also learned when to step back and to provide support to our peers. 2, ask for and accept help. Over the past 10 months, we have found value in various leadership styles and celebrated the strengths of each. While our leadership style may personally appeal, while a particular leadership style may personally appeal to each of us, the one universal quality that transcends successful leaders is trust. I thank each of you for the ability to inspire trust, and through your openness and willingness to share, and for trusting others, myself included. It has been a godsend to know that each of you are only a phone call away, and I have been fortunate enough to take a few of you up on that opportunity, and look forward to leaning in more, and contacting a few more of you for guidance and direction in the future. And lastly, to those, much is given, much is required. As this program comes to an end, we must realize that our monthly provided safe space for personal and professional growth will end, but our commitment to address the greatest needs of Prince William County and the cities of Manassas and Manassas Park has just begun. More informed than ever, let's utilize our expanded resources and network to support and shape minds, alter hearts, and leave a lasting impact on this place we call home. While the risk is bigger, the reward is greater. Thank you, Mark, Andrea, Sarah, Jan, Mary, for for leading us to this leadership principling well. It is rich with knowledge, expertise, and inspiration, and this is only the beginning. Thank you.
It was nice to have two different perspectives on the program from a single class. And now I want to just really quickly thank the team of people that makes this program work month after month. And then we will conclude with our grip and grin ceremony down here at the front. First of all, we of course want to thank Sarah because she keeps me up to speed and makes me look good on a regular basis. I have a gift for her, but it's not here yet, so I'm just going to embarrass her again at the Evening of Excellence. It's going to be so worth it. You're going to love it. About Mark today and his leadership, and I just want to thank him for not only starting the journey with this class, but making the commitment to keep coming back month after month and follow through on his obligation to us. And I think that's an excellent example of the kind of leader that he is. So thank you for doing that, Mark. Then, of course, we have the lovable and always faithful Valerie Neal with Whitlock Wealth Management. And Valerie's actually going to read the names of the class members as they come up for their certificates, etc. And also, Val, I don't want to forget that I have a gift for you here as well. It has a mermaid theme because you're so nice. One other thing that I want to mention before we start the certificates and going through all of the class members, I want to thank George Mason University for hosting us all day today. They hosted us last month as well, but it has been amazing to be able to be here in this great space. They had someone with us all day for tech support and AV, and Ron Carmichael and Molly Grove, and Colby, I'm sure, as well. They just were amazing hosts to us, and we want to thank them also for covering parking because that was awesome of them. And that was a little gift that Ron threw in at the end, so that was very cool. To Valerie so that she can do what we came here to do. And Mary and Mark, will you join me down in the front here for photos?
Stand up. Front row stands up.
So you guys are just gonna come down and circle in front, but our photographer still has to take pictures, so one at a time.
Right here.
So Greg Ballard, Coaching and Consulting. Vicky Castro, Hispanic Organization for Leadership and Action.
Right there, where Andrea's trying to orchestrate this, and we're not, Mark and I are doing a good job.
Yeah. Awesome. Silka Duke, Imagination Learning Center.
Wait, placing protocol. Yeah.
Stop. Move too soon.
one, Ana Escamilla Todos Incorporated. Matt Esmacher, Washington Gas. Andy Fenn, Federal Housing Finance Agency. Mandy Gannon, oh, sorry. Mandy Gannon, Lake Manassas Health and Rehab Center. Colby Grant, George Mason University Science and Technology.
We're actually going to help you. We're changing them.
Now look at Molly. Look at me.
Thank you. Mom.
Rod Hall, K&L Gates LLC.
Here's your beautiful picture.
All right.
Your beautiful artwork.
Come here, Russ. There you go. All right, thank you.
Chris Hare, Occoquan Woodbridge Morton Volunteer Fire Department.
Yes. Yes, Andrew has spoken.
Smart man, smart man.
Rosani Hernandez, New York Life.
It's a lot.
It is. Good thing we use your pen too.
Lexi Jewell, Compton and Dueling.
I love hugs.
Paul Jones, First Light Home Care of Woodbridge.
Thank you very much.
You're
right, this is a lot to do.
Yes.
So much research.
That's why your skills already.
Katie Keegan, Manassas City Public Schools. Peggy Kimmy, Prince William Chamber of Commerce.
That's lovely.
You guys did a great job. Oh, she's got this down. She has done this before.
Brian Larkin, Manassas City Police Department. Brian Meisner, Prince William County Department of Fire and Rescue. Brandy Moss, Matthews Center for Visual Learning. Jared Phelps, Prince William County Police Department.
He smiles.
Florence Willow Santera, Northern Virginia Medical Center. Natalie Ramos, Action in the Community Through Service.
These guys are tough up front here.
Must be third.
Eric Reeves, Lighters.
Smart, Eric.
He is.
Jane Reynolds, Law Officer Jane
Sharing section at the top? Yeah. No. Congratulations.
Brianna Sewell, Office of Fire. Olan Simmons, Vanderbilt. Ann Slobodnik, Matthews Center for Visual Learning. Allison Finland, Northern Virginia Community College.
And this is Allison's daughter, Jenna, taking
Thompson, Prince William County Sheriff's Office.
And now we're getting
Over here, over here. Mark. Okay, thank you.
Aaron Tolson, author.
Are you sucking at?
Jeannie Underwood, Dominion Energy Services. Public schools.
The old there, from through. Where's your rubber?
Thank you so much, Val. Thank you. All right, once again, congratulations to the graduates. Thank you to all of our sponsors and volunteers throughout the year. We want to point out our mission sponsors, Youth for Tomorrow, Whitlock Wealth Management. I know that Bennett and Gail at least were in here, but that's here. Compton and Dueling, Micron Technology, Centera, Northern Virginia Medical Center, and a couple of our in-kind sponsors and partners, people who make our marketing and communications a little easier. Imagine, Prince William Living Magazine, and What's Up Prince William? What's up? To every board member, every alum who partners to plan the class days, to every one of you who came out and supported this graduation ceremony today, I want to thank you. And in closing, the prolific Western author, Louis L'Amour, said, "There will come a time when you believe everything is finished. That will be the beginning." I'm really excited about this beginning that you guys are about to embark on, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. Thank you.